Welcome everyone to episode 919. Come on in. Welcome to the show, everyone. Get your alerts and let's get this party started. Alert the media. Papa Swole is large and in charge. Fucking Obvi. Obvi boosh. Yeah. You're not first. Sharon was first. Oh no. Oh no. You weren't first. Yeah, okay, all right, fine, if that's the way it must be. Nine bullshit.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Welcome to the Daily Swole. Testing, test, testing, 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 testicles. Welcome everyone to episode 919 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swolecast, beardcast, broadcast, gangcast, mancast, pimpcast, sleazecast, slaycast, taintcast, mancast, an absolute yoked cast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. What up, beaches? Welcome to episode 919. Thanks for joining me. Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, of course, all the live streams. Welcome to the show for the live Q and Swole. I call it a Q&A because most people know what a Q&A is, but I prefer to call it a Q and Swole, as per the board behind me. So that being the case, let's get started. And, you know, I say let's get started. I have nothing to say. This is all you. So what I will do is pin that comment on Instagram. Fine. Done. What I will also do is answer as many questions as I possibly can. And I will start. Well, I did a post on Instagram stories. Remember, that's how you submit your questions, on the question in the Instagram stories. So I have a bunch there. And any ones that pop up. So we're going to take a bunch of questions today. I'll get to as many as I possibly can. And I have extra coffee here, so I can be right? Yes. Welcome to the show. Welcome. Remember, everyone, if you have not yet subscribed to the podcast, absolutely shameful. You should be ashamed. Go to swolenormousx.com. You could do a bunch of things at swolenormousx.com. You can take the tour and see everything that Swole X has to offer. You can also check out the podcast section, and I'll give you a list of apps where you can pick one, whichever one that you like, for whatever phone you have, and you can subscribe, and then you'll get all the updates whenever a new podcast drops. So you can catch up on some of the old ones and the new ones if you're not able to watch live. So let's see. First question popping up. Let's see. Where can I get some bones for bone broth? You can get them at Whole Foods. You can order them online. Do a Google search. 100%. You want 100% grass-fed beef bones. 100% grass-fed beef bones. Jackson F. Music. How can I use calisthenics to build muscle? Just like you'd use weights. You're just using your body. And if you're trying to build a lot of muscle, calisthenics is not the answer. If you want to have more muscular endurance and you want to And let's say you're limited with, for example, you're limited with equipment, then doing things like push-ups and pull-ups are great, but you need to create overload and time under tension. So you'll need to do negatives, you need to do additional weight, maybe weight vests, or using some kind of like chains and, dip belts and stuff like that. Frequency, you're gonna have to do frequency, volume, play around with that, but time under tension, isometric holds, and you can build muscle. You can absolutely build muscle, but after a while, you will plateau, most likely. You're not going to build endless amounts of muscle just by doing bodyweight stuff. So it's a great start, and it's great if you have limited equipment and you build muscle with that like anything else. Don't forget, no matter how you're building muscle, no matter what you're doing, it's sleep, it's nutrition, it's hydration, it's all the other aspects and components of fitness. It's not just, hey, let me do some pull-ups and I'll get big. And don't get distracted by all these fucking jabronis that are doing all these handstand push-ups with weight vests and all this Cirque du Soleil shit on Instagram and YouTube. People just want to get views, and most of those people are dumb as a fucking brick. I know because I've heard them speak, and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So just because someone can perform doesn't mean they understand the concepts of training, and doesn't mean that you can just follow what they do and, oh, if I do those fancy things like they do, I'll be in shape and look lean or be muscular like them. There's a skill involved with calisthenics and those types of movements. And then do you want to build a lot of muscle? So understand what you want the end physique to be. And most of the time people want to look a certain way. They want to look how they would look if they lifted weights. Most people want that look, but then they see people that do, because a lot of these guys that do calisthenic stuff, they lift weights too. And then you see a video of them doing these free body stuff. And like, wow, that's awesome. Let me do that. You don't see everything they do behind the scenes. Remember, a video is just a small snippet of someone's life or someone's training. Yeah, brick. Don't reinvent the wheel. Don't reinvent the wheel. That's a great point, Chris. There's so much technology and so much social media, and everyone has a voice, and you see so much stuff. It's not anymore. There's no new way to build muscle. There's no fucking right. I think that's an episode all in itself. There is no new magical way to build muscle. We seem to create these magical ways like, oh, if we do HIIT training, we're going to build muscle more now and burn more fat now. No, the body is the same as it was 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, fucking the same. The body is the same. You're not going to build muscle any differently now than you would 50 years ago, 100 years ago. It's resistance, it's overload, right? It's pressure and time. If you're adding extra force, if you're adding external force and you're resisting it more frequently, your body will adapt in certain ways to resist it more frequently. You'll build more muscle to handle it. It's that simple. Do you prefer a commercial gym or mom and pop gym? I don't like big chain gyms. So mom and pop, I don't know. There's like a lot of in between now. There's a lot of in between with commercial and mom and pop. They're like big gyms, but they're independent gyms. I would call them independent. Mom and pop, yeah. I mean, I like the gyms when you'll see the owner walking around and you say hi and shit like that. So more mom and pop than commercial, but there's a lot of like in between now. There are a lot of like big gyms that look huge, but they're not Crunch Fitness or LA Fitness or something like that. Equinox, I don't like those. I don't like commercial gyms. Usually those aren't that great because people don't care about it as much. It's more of a corporate machine. When you have a more individualized gym, they tend to care more about the members. They tend to do things that will allow for, they kind of connect with the members a lot more. And that's usually because when you have a commercialized gym, it's more about the numbers. It's more about how many people can you sign up, how many, their sales team and shit like that. But I like smaller gyms. I like gyms that are less popular or less crowded. I don't like the fucking zoos. I don't like the zoos. Richard J.D. Schmith. What's a good exercise for lower back strength other than our RDL? Well, RDLs aren't for lower back strength. That's a hip hinge, so that's for glutes. It does work the lower back. And honestly, if you want to improve your lower back strength, you need to focus more on glute activation and glute strength. So RDLs are great for the hip hinge. You could also do planks. You could do like dynamic movements for planks. You can do a lot of glute activation. The lower back is just a bridge between the base of the core and the movement area of the core, which is the thoracic spine. So it's more important for the lower back to have integrity and to have that internal pressure and that internal strength to support the bending, so you don't get too much extension in the lower back. So more glute activation. Yeah, Chris, for sure. Overload principle and supercompensation principle is best. Consistency over time beats all. Most people don't have the patience or realize that's going to take them decades to really build what they want. You see a lot of these like teenagers and young guys that, probably take drugs, and, everyone's genetically different. Some people, if you train hard for a couple of years, you can build muscle. I had a lot of muscle after a couple of years of hardcore training, but it wasn't that like muscle maturity. And you don't really, until you're in the field, you don't really notice a difference. When you're younger, you'll build kind of like smooth muscle, right? And I'm not using, these aren't technical terms. I'm not saying there's a difference between these types of muscles. But you'll notice that when someone's older, when they've been lifting for years and years, they have more of a dense musculature. They have more separation. Their muscles, they call it in bodybuilding, they call it muscle maturity. And your body creates more shape. You have more reps, literally more reps and more experience. And your body has been under more duress. So if you're training harder for more years, you kind of carve and separate and develop your muscles more. When you're younger, you have more, I guess, it just looks like softer muscle, right? It just looks like you have more general muscle mass. Like you can put on muscle for sure. You can get strong, of course, but it takes time to build a physique. You don't just lift and boom, things pop up. You don't know what muscles and what body parts grow faster than others. You don't know what your stubborn body parts are when you first start training. It takes time. And if you're looking for a physique, it's not about how many pull-ups you can do. It's not about skipping leg day. It's about building everything evenly. And that's what I love about bodybuilding. I don't necessarily ever want to be on a stage. I have no interest in that, but I love building the body evenly so it looks proportionate. It doesn't look fucking whack. And most people that train look fucking whack. They look ridiculous. They look ridiculous because they don't train properly. They just try to up their PRs, or they're just trying to do pull-ups and fucking calisthenics now all day. Cirque du Soleil shit's really popular in gyms, and everyone's doing bar workouts and planches and all these. Okay, fine, great. But, what are you trying to accomplish? It's a cool feat, but it's not necessarily going to build your physique to look amazing. Yeah, the train doesn't stop. You got to keep going. Let me pull up Instagram for some more questions. Again, Sunday Funday Q&A. Drop your questions. I'll take as many as come through. And if not a lot come through, then shame on you. You're missing out. So let me bring up the... Let's see what else happened this weekend. Yesterday, the nutrition masterclass. I forgot. I haven't been here for a live show since the masterclass. Yesterday's nutrition masterclass was fucking awesome. So everyone that attended live, thank you, and drop in the comments below if you enjoyed it. That was great. It turned out great. Massive turnout, and it just went really, really, really well. Covered a ton of great topics, and I'm looking forward to doing it again and getting more into the schnitty gritty. So it was exciting stuff. Went really well. Anthony Garcia on Facebook. Other than sweet potatoes, what are some of your other favorite go-to carb sources? Well, you named it right there. I don't really have any other favorite go-to carb sources. I like yucca, I guess, every once in a while, to maybe if I feel like the flavor, or I'll have fruit. I like my watermelon and stuff like that. But in terms of carbs, that's really what I consume, honestly. I don't really have any other favorite go-to. I just don't prefer how everything else makes me feel. I mean, I like potatoes, I like white potatoes too, but sweet potatoes just feel better for me. Duffman Bones. Hey, Papa, what up? What up, G? Any advice for building muscle while working a labor-intensive job? Should I worry about overtraining, or... depends on what the labor is. Here's the thing about the human body. The body will adapt. So if you're doing physical labor all the time, it's no longer overload for your body. You might feel exhausted and drained at the end of the day, but you're not going to be sore and you're not going to be banged up because you're used to doing that labor. It's kind of like cardio, right? Your body's just used to those movements. So your body will kind of create a new baseline, and then you still need to train. So your body still needs that kind of specific overload. But yeah, I would make sure you're implementing yoga and you're implementing stress relieving types of training and active recovery, so you don't just keep on smashing your body. You definitely need to have a lot of mobility and yoga in your programming, I would recommend. Been upping my leg game recently. Nice, Casey. Nice. Nice. Enjoyed the masterclass. Thank you, Jeremy. Tom, yes, you enjoyed it. Tommy. Masterclass was dope. Thank you, Anthony. Noah, Carmen, what should you start first, working out, then diet, or diet, then working out? Are you asking me, should you focus on food or training first? I would say focus on your training first. Nutrition is a constant struggle, and most people have those addictions and cravings, and a lot of times you get people that fall off because they focus on food first, and that's the hardest thing. That's a constant practice and a process. So it's most important that you get that physical habit in, and you make that and you promise yourself that you're going to work on your nutrition. And, some people can do both at the same time. They just jump in. They're like, I'm going to do my training, I'm going to do my nutrition, get it all at once. A lot of times there's a lot of overload and you fall short very, very quickly. So if I recommend it, I talk about, I give, everyone that joins Swole Enormous X, you could start training, but then you get the nutrition jumpstart. I want you to start thinking about nutrition. There's a bunch of major principles you can start with, and like, okay, I can cut out these foods right away, but you don't have to worry about, in other words, don't expect or don't think that you're going to have a perfect nutrition, like your diet's going to be perfect because, hey, I'm going to focus on my diet first. That's a progress. That's a process of trial and error and figuring things out. So it's better just to focus on your training and allow your training to inspire you to focus more on your nutrition. Like, you're not going to want to eat crap when you have a great workout. And then you can start, you get rid of the sodas, you get rid of the processed foods while you start training, and you start analyzing what you're eating and you start focusing on that. But as long as you're consistent with your training, the nutrition will come. I would focus on the training first. That's a psychological approach, and everyone's different with that. That's awesome. Life can use more sources of excitement. One of the best intimate gyms I had the pleasure to lift in. Unassuming name, local gym and fitness. Nice. Good. Instagram, keep on dropping those comentarios, those questions. Thank you for the answers, Pop. I work in gardens and woodland, so it's a lot of heavy lifting and being on my feet. Yeah, it's tough because the thing is with training, with lifting, is that that's overload on specific muscle groups. When you're doing heavy lifting and general stuff, you're not doing like focus. You're not doing like 30 squats straight, right? You're not lifting weight up 1, 2. You're lifting, you're moving. So your muscles don't have that constant tension. So it's very, very different than lifting. So you still have to overload the body, but I'm just concerned with your lifting a lot, then you're overloading and focusing at the gym. You need to balance it out, right? Paul, I'm a new fan. Recently been binge watching your YouTube videos. Lots of thank you, dude. Appreciate it. Zach Perez. What up, Swole? What up, Z-Bones? What's your thoughts on tingling and burning in the lower traps after a couple sets of prone cobras? Well, if it's tingling and burning, you might want to go to your doctor, make sure it's not contagious. Know what I'm saying? That being said, your thoughts on tingling and burning in the lower traps after a couple sets. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, dude. That sounds good to me. If you're hitting the lower traps, you mean tingling, burning, like activation? It's normal you're supposed to activate the lower traps. I don't have any thoughts on it. It sounds like you're activating your lower traps, and it's just how you're perceiving the feeling. Does it hurt, or you just feel like the muscles are pumped and kind of like on fire? Oh, could it be a weak muscle or a pinched nerve? It's very, very doubtful it's a pinched nerve. Most people think it's a pinched nerve when they feel a sharp pain or something, but usually it's just a tiny muscle. Nerve radiates. If you have a nerve issue or a pinched nerve, you'll feel it radiating all the way down your arm or leg or something like that. Yeah, I'm not a doctor. It's just weak muscles, most likely. Remember, when you're doing a prone cobra, you're activating musculature, and when you're activating musculature, the purpose and the principle of that is you're turning on muscles that aren't used to working. So that kind of weird feeling, like you're not used to activating and isolating those muscles. So the feeling might just be weird because you're not used to it. And it's hard to explain in text what you're feeling. So it's hard for me to obviously it's hard to put into words exactly what you're feeling. If I were you, I might be like, oh, that's completely normal. But it's hard for me to say tingling, burning, it's hard to really put a sensation into words. Casey, getting the gym time and fitness in make the diet easier. You don't want to mess up your gains, not to mention eating clean makes you a beast in the gym. I agree. That's why I think the physical training is the most important thing to start with. You're welcome, Noah. What's your dog's name? It's not my dog originally. I've adopted her. I've adopted her into my life as well. It's my girl's dog. Princess. That's her name, Princess. I call her Biche. I honestly do. That's little Biche. Hello, fam. Hello, Zach. Hello. What's up, Shane? What up? Let me take some questions from Instagram stories. Keep dropping your questions. If I see them pop up, I shall get to them ASAP. Let's see. Shari Cooper. Just for fun, what is the craziest thing you've ever seen happen in the gym? I don't know. That I've seen happen? I have to think about that one. I mean, I've seen tons of just stupid form and terrible shit. The craziest thing. I don't know. It's not crazy, but I'll tell you one thing that I hate. I hate when people eat in the gym or near the gym. I can't stand the smell of food in the fucking gym. I know sometimes trainers have to eat and they microwave their food and they go in the, but any gym that has the smell of food emanating through it, it's terrible. I hate that shit. So I'll just leave it with that. But that's a good question. I have to think about that a little bit. A lot of these things I block out of my mind because it's just so ridiculous. So if it's really ridiculous, like form or exercises, one thing that I do know about my gym is I'll see some things I've never seen anywhere else in my life. There's always someone that doesn't exercise. And in any gym, there's always that one person that doesn't exercise, and you're looking at the person doing the exercise and you're thinking, did they look at that machine and just think, what is the most random shit that I could do? What is the most random shit that I can do that's not what this machine is designed for? Like some of these exercises that people do are just so ridiculous. You think they must actively try to do the most ridiculous thing, because how would you just think, oh, this is normal. This is what should be done. I don't get it sometimes. Duff Bones, for sure. I just try to listen to my body and do plenty of active recovery. I've been a bit worried that if I trained while working, I would burn myself out. You can, but everyone's different. Remember, you're adapting to that kind of activity. So if I were to do your job, I'd be exhausted. I really feel it all over my body. You're more used to it than I would be. So you've kind of like reached that new level of adaptation with the body. The body is an adaptation machine. Remember, you're going to adapt to any type of overload. The thing is with training is that's overload. You have to overload the body. And when you're overloading with weights, you're focusing that overload on specific muscle groups. And it's different than just doing general lifts and you're moving something, walking over here, lifting something else. You know, you're not just doing like a bench press. You're not just doing like a bicep curl 20 times for 5 sets. And you're doing, you know what I mean? Would you recommend yoga on a daily basis? Yes and no. Depends on your goals. Depends on what type of yoga, how long you're doing it for, your training split. You can do yoga on a daily basis. I wouldn't recommend doing like a strength or a power yoga every day because that can fatigue you a lot. But you can absolutely do like a yoga flow every day for sure. Lifting tips for tall guys. No different than I would give lifting tips for short women, tall women. I mean, lifting tips, you have a question? That's very, 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 very vague, Steven. Love to help, but I don't know what you mean. Same lifting tips that I would give anyone else. You're a human being. You got arms and legs. You're just taller. If you have any form issues like with deadlifts and squats, you can always modify. Do like rack pulls or something if you feel like you don't have good form, but no different. There is a woman who eats Chick-fil-A at the gym. Oh, I wouldn't stand for that shit. I wouldn't stand for that shit. Ugh. You know, I've never had Chick-fil-A in my life. Never, ever, ever. Have not had one meal. I've never purchased a single thing from Chick-fil-A. I went in once to use a bathroom, but I've never actually purchased anything from Chick-fil-A. I'm pretty proud of that. If it was beef fillet, I probably would go. Or I would have gone in the past at some point. I have a guy at my gym who eats right after his workout. Guess he is afraid he's going to lose his gains if he doesn't eat right after. I mean, I eat when I get home, but I certainly don't like rush and try to like drink a protein shake immediately after. That anabolic window though. But what about the anabolic window? If I don't eat right away, if I don't suck down 70 grams of protein, I'm going to lose all my gains. Bullshit. Bow, bow. Also on the gym machines, any idea why someone would do the splits? The splits with one leg fully extended on the leg press. The splits. I don't know what that means. Would do the splits. I don't know what that means. Sounds weird. Hey, what's up, Mexico? Samina, if I did the elimination diet and I quit after 4 weeks, but I tested coffee, eggs, and chicken and I am fine with them, can I take it all over again, but with those 3 foods included? Well, it's at least 4 weeks. It's 4 to 6 weeks. Sometimes you might need longer. And if you tested them properly and you went through all those and you're fine with what you're consuming, then yeah. Can you do the elimination but now have those present? Yeah, I mean, if you actually did the testing, and you did it properly and you feel fine with those foods, then if you're trying to eliminate other things, then you can use that as, okay, these foods don't bother me, so you don't really have to test them. So sure, that would be acceptable. That's what I would think. So I don't see anything wrong with that. You like the Zombies? The band? The Zombies? I don't know the Zombies. Random. I love the assumption that everyone just knows everything. Like 99.9% of people know nothing about 99.9% of things. Like nothing. Think about all the things that you know about and think about all the things in the world. No one really knows anything. That's what always makes me crack up when you think about knowledge and what people talk about they know. No one really fucking knows everything. Even though fitness is my shit. It's like, how much can you actually know in your brain about everything that's fitness related? There's just so much information. There's always new stuff coming out and there's always something you haven't heard of. There's always there's just so much shit out there. So much information. It's the song you're singing. Was I singing a song? I don't know, man. I don't know the group. Time of the season? I don't know. Sorry. Sandra, so I kind of threw myself back into working out after a little over a year of some medical stuff that required steroids and 80 extra pounds in 14 months. But the person that is helping me get back into working out is a former competitive bodybuilding type of guy. We do mostly weight training, and I do know the muscles will help. I need to include some pretty major cardio. Yes and no, not really. I just feel kind of lost at this point, and I don't know what I should have been doing, as I've never been in this situation. All right, the question disappeared. You can follow up with that because I don't know. The question faded away, but it sounds like you probably are getting impatient. It's going to come down to the nutrition. You absolutely do not have to add in tons of crazy cardio. The lifting is the most important thing, lifting and yoga. If you want to add in some additional cardio, that's fine, but that's not going to be like what determines your weight loss. It's going to come down to your stress management, hydration, sleep, proper nutrition, lifting, yoga, and freaking consistency and patience. You're not going to lose it as fast as you gained it probably. You're welcome, Samina. Good. I'm glad to hear it. Well, if those things don't bother you, that's good. It's good not to have coffee bother you. Coffee is delicious. Coffee is delicious. All right, let's see. I work out 5 times. This is from JL Sun on Instagram. I work out 5 days a week, and I'm adding that a week. Would you recommend all body training, all phases, or leg day, chest day? Well, if you work out 5 days a week, you don't want to do full body 5 days a week. So you have a choice. You can either do full body 3 days a week. You could do upper, lower, and that'll be 4 days a week. So you can mix it up. I would recommend, if you're a beginner, full body is great. You can even do it when you're advanced. I personally prefer a little bit of segmentation. I like upper, lower body. I like some kind of push-pull superset. I love chest and back. I like doing arms separately. I just like it. I've done upper body workouts. I've done full body workouts. I just don't feel I'm getting enough volume on those body parts from a bodybuilding perspective, just to get enough volume. I just like it. I like doing more overload on specific body parts. I like focusing more on less body parts. But I love integrating every once in a while with full body at workouts or upper lower body, more general training sessions. But I do a lot of yoga, which integrates the muscles and integrates the body very well. So if you're only just doing lifting and that's it, no, you're segmenting your body. You're not integrating it properly. But yoga is very, very well, or excellent at very well. It's very excellent at integrating everything. Clarity on the tall guy question. Should I sub some exercise for others due to the biomechanics, such as doing dumbbell presses as opposed to bench? That depends. I mean, if you have issues, some people are tall, they're fine with bench pressing. Dumbbell presses, usually that's not going to have anything to do with your height. If we're talking about squats or deadlifts, I can understand. Some people might like using a hex bar. Some people might like doing deadlifts or squats, doing box squats, for example, or front squats might be better for your mechanical positioning. You may prefer doing something like deadlifts from off a couple blocks, not necessarily rack pulls, but maybe like a foot off the ground rather than from the ground. A lot of times that could just be like mobility issues. So it depends on what the person is having issues with, because just being tall doesn't mean you're the same as everyone else. Some people have longer torsos, longer limbs. So there's other factors too. If there's a specific exercise, not like across the board, if you're tall, you shouldn't do this. It really depends on the person and mobility, because you could be tall and very stiff and not mobile. You could be very tall and very mobile. Sandra, I guess the question is, what is your suggestion as to what will help? I do yoga, but just 1 day a week. I would up that till 2 or 3 days a week. And the nutrition I'm good with, meaning what? What are you consuming for nutrition? Sorry, when someone says I'm good with nutrition, I get very, very skeptical instantly. Yeah, I mean, that would be great. You could always add in some cardiovascular training, but don't think you have to kill yourself with cardio. Don't think you have to be fucking on like an elliptical an hour a day. So actually, if you want to follow that up, your question with your weight loss, I'd love to see what you're eating, because if you haven't done an elimination diet and you haven't really reset your nutrition and gone back to the drawing board foundationally, because I don't think you were in the class yesterday, I would recommend it, because a lot of times people think they're good with nutrition, and when they start going through this process, like, holy shit, I thought I was good with nutrition, but I realize X, Y, and Z. So not to say you aren't, but a lot of people think they are good, and until they talk to a Papa Swole, and I'm like, ooh, that could be, it could be something that you're eating. It could be a couple things that you never know. You never know. Not to say that it's bad. Always curious when someone thinks they have good nutrition. And like I said, doesn't mean that you're not eating properly. Doesn't mean that you're not lying. I'm just thinking, just always curious what people's opinions. I always love the psychology component of it. When people say because your perspective and how you feel and how those words are so subjective. Like, my nutrition's good. And I'm not talking specifically to you, Sandra, anymore. But when people say something's good, it's just such an opinion, right? So what makes it good? And when it comes to nutrition, there isn't this is the best way, this is the worst way. So it's good just kind of floats in the air. It's hard to really, I guess, quantify what that means. Samina, I've been watching 670 episodes. I've been watching 675 episodes of The Daily Swole. By the time you get to 1,000, it disappeared. Look at you, Samina. Beast. Oh my goodness. What's your favorite one? How about that? What's your favorite one? What's your favorite episode? Travis, off subject, it's my birthday today, and I'm also a veteran. Shout out. Hell yeah, Travis. Thank you for your service, dude. Happy birthday. Dun, 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 dun. Paul Benner, is it good or bad to eat high fiber foods after working out? Usually the classic thought seems kind of like bro science-y, but fiber slows digestion of carbohydrates. So you want something that's more easy to absorb after a workout. However, I just eat whole food, and I eat sweet potatoes and stuff, and sweet potatoes have fiber, and I stopped worrying about shit like that, and I have seen no issues whatsoever. So how much of a difference it's actually going to make, I don't think you should worry about it. I think you should just eat the best foods that you like. If you have digestive issues, sometimes fibrous foods can be really heavy after a workout, because when you're training, you're in the sympathetic nervous system. You're using that. Your body is sending blood to the muscles. Your body isn't focused on digestion. That's why you can feel nauseous if you have food sitting in your stomach, because your body takes resources and sends them to the muscles rather than focusing on digestion. So you can feel sick if you have food in your stomach. So sometimes after a workout, if you try to eat something, a big meal right after, it can feel a little bit, too heavy. That's where people usually lean back on protein shakes and shit like that. But all you have to do is wait a little bit and then eat food. You don't need to, drink that sludge. Since the anabolic window is more or less a myth, It's important to refuel, but you don't have like a certain period of time where like, if you don't eat now, you're not going to make progress. That's bullshit. It's amazing like how when you stop using supplements, you stop focusing on shit like that, you just see no difference. If you focus on the right nutrition, training hard, sleeping right, you're fine. You're fine. So many people are just worried so much about all these supplements and what to take and taking. Nah, you don't need it. Say hello to Brazil. I love how when people post, it's like, I'm just going to say hi to a country. Hello, Brazil. Hello. How long did I work with Beachbody? Years ago. Why did I leave? That was a long time ago. Other interests, other direction. I want to do my own thing. I didn't believe in the stuff anymore. As I did, it changed direction. It changed direction. This is a long time ago, but just want to do my own thing, which is why I'm here right now. I got involved with it because of NASM and P90X, and then, I started doing some stuff with other things, and isn't the anabolic window for if you're training hard? Yeah, I don't know. The anabolic window, you're always anabolic and catabolic. Your body goes through this cycle all the time, right? You're breaking down things for nutrients. Your body is rebuilding. It depends on what your body needs at the moment. So your body goes from anabolic and catabolic, and your body kind of goes back and forth. Texas tea for fat females. Hold on, I got to burp. Yes, for fat female. Oh, let's take the Facebook questions first. My favorite episode is 675 when you shout out my name for the first time. Say my name, say my name. That is the episode with fitness as practice. I'm glad I said something that was worth shouting out. That means I understood something from all the 675 episodes I've been listening to. So can I be your guest in episode 1000? Well, I haven't had a request for it yet, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I haven't thought about what I want to do for episode 1000. If anything, knowing me, I just want to do another regular episode, but maybe what we'll do is maybe we'll bring a couple people on. Maybe we'll just do a couple calls. I want to do some more calls on the show and have some more guests on here too, those of you that are in the community. So we'll start doing that more anyway. Episode 1000 is coming up. What, 81 more days? I think I did the math and it was like January 31st or something like that. Forget what exact day it is. I calculated it like a few months ago and I forgot what it was. But yeah, I'm definitely open to you coming on the show. Why not? Why not? Get some of the hardcore peeps on. You earned it. Trisha, doing the 90-day dash and using the worksheets, trying to gauge the right amount of weight and reps. Should I be hitting muscle failure? You sure can. You sure can, depending on what workout you're doing. And muscle failure, honestly, is very hard for anyone to actually reach. We throw around that term. We throw around that term muscle failure very, very loosely, because to really get to muscle failure, most people don't have the mental fortitude to push that hard until you literally can't do another rep. Most people don't dig down that much. So you can definitely start pushing yourself towards muscle failure. I never liked when people shy away from muscle failure. That's how you build fucking muscle. You overload the muscle. You don't just do what the muscle can handle. You got to fucking overload that shit. So if you're getting proper recovery, you can absolutely turn up the heat. And remember, these are answers based on the questions that are being asked. Sometimes there's other details that could be a little bit more, or give a little bit more of a different answer. I know there's only so much you can put in text. So 81 days. So I have to listen to five daily Swoles a day and I'll catch up. That's dedication. I think there's a few people that have listened to every single one. I think there's a few of you who have listened to actually every single episode, which is very flattering, very humbling, and super fucking awesome. Super awesome. Let me get this one on Instagram stories. You're being consistent. Good, Samina. Keep it up. Keep it up. Hard work pays off, right? It's going to be nice when you're up to date and you can all right, I can kick back a little bit. Do it till it hurts, like Arnold said. That's how I train. I push. It's training for a reason. You have to push yourself. All right, Texas T42 on IG, Instagram stories for fat females. For fat females needing to lose weight, how much cardio do we need plus lift, yoga? Cardio is extremely overrated. Cardio is great for heart health and it's great for a component of your fitness. I don't hate on cardio, but I hate on the concept that cardio needs to be this fucking like pillar of your training, and it certainly doesn't. So how much cardio do we need? After lifting and yoga, just fill in the gaps if you wish. Don't do anything. You don't need hours of fucking cardio. You could do some interval stuff. You could do some hill sprints or interval sprints. Those are always great. But if you do some just like general stuff just to be more active, walking, doing the step mill, whatever you want to do, just don't burn yourself out. Yoga is great cardiovascular. You're getting because not only that, you're getting your heart rate up, you're working on your breath, you're actually actively recovering, you're reducing stress when you're doing yoga, you're doing inversions when you're doing yoga. So it's a lot more effective in many cases to help that cardiovascular system to assist with blood flow. Like even a child's pose is a very, very low level inversion. Child's pose, downward dog, like you're actually moving the fluids around the body. You're twisting. You're not just step, 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 and then forcing your heart just to pump and push things through. Like you're actually assisting it when you're doing things like yoga. So not at the expense of lifting and yoga. Those things are first. Again, my opinion, but I just do not put any kind of like major focus on cardio as like a pinnacle of weight loss. Do more cardio, eat less food, be more active, lift, do yoga. Like you'll lose weight. Patience always helps. People think they're going to lose weight as fast as they put it on. Rarely the case. Usually is the opposite. It'll take you much longer to lose it than to gain it. Edgar Hernandez 88. No questions. I just think you're a fucking awesome dude. Keep it real, Dash. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Best question of the day. Fapo 101. What's your thoughts on functional medicine? I think it's the future, and I think it's where everything needs to start to really make this country and this world a lot healthier. Functional medicine is the way medicine should be. Colton Cook. Do you always wear your Vibrams out and about? Mine usually get smelly from working out in them, so I usually don't. I really don't go out and about a lot, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, I go to the gym. If I go to the store, I just keep on wearing them. I have a few pairs. That will also help if you have multiple pairs. I really don't like wearing any kind of shoes or any kind of footwear. So it's like minimal footwear or usually something flat. I don't like anything with an elevated heel. And I feel awkward like when I wear shoes now because I'm barefoot, either barefoot or I'm wearing my Vibrams all the time. Not saying that you have to, but usually that's what I do. I'm convinced about 92 episode. I'm up to 120. I take my time to listen so I can actually ingest the knowledge, bring back the rods, the rage of the day. I still do the rods. I just don't label them a rod. I still do the rage. I still rage. I still rage. I still rant. I think I'm just a little bit more consistent with my ranting. I don't necessarily yell at the microphone, but we'll do some more. Well, yeah, we'll do some more rods. I've had some recently. I don't necessarily put that in the title though, so it might not stick out, but we'll do. I've done some rods. We'll do some more rods. You can't force a rod. You can't force a rod. Got to let it happen naturally, because then it's like then it's legit and then it's delicious. If you force it, and it says no one likes a forced rod. When you're, let's see, James Mark 222, should training change for when you're trying to bulk versus cut? Well, if you're trying to cut, you're in a caloric deficit, depending on how you're eating, you're going to lose strength, so you're not going to be able to lift quite as heavy. Should training change? I wouldn't change your training too much. You're going to have to be aware that your strength will likely decline as you're losing weight and as you start cutting body fat. But I wouldn't change too many things. Maybe not go quite so heavy, but I wouldn't change too many variables. Once you start changing, let's say you, for example, hey, I'm trying to cut, so I'm going to cut my calories and I'm going to change completely how I'm training. That's a lot of things to shift, and you don't really know what works best for you. So I would keep your training more or less the same. That way you can monitor and see how much your body will adapt just to caloric changes and to nutritional changes. And then moving forward, if you need to tweak some things with your training. So it's different for everyone. I wouldn't change how I was training to get more lean. I would play with the nutrition. I would cut carbs, and maybe, do some more. Yeah, it depends. It depends. I would, I would increase fat usually and drop the carbs a little bit. You lose a little water. More satisfied. It'll help you with caloric changes and decrease calories. You'll be more satisfied. Have you heard any of Jocko Willink's podcast? I know who he is. I don't listen to his podcast though. I'm sure it's good. I got too much. I have limited time as it is to make all the content that I do. I don't have a lot of time to listen to other people's content or podcasts. Every once in a while, I'll catch one of, specific, but I don't consume a lot of content because I'm busy making my own. Storm_things. What are your future goals with fitness, bodybuilding contests, or seminars, possibly teaching? Probably more in-person teaching, seminars, talks, and stuff like that. I've done that a lot in the past. I did that a couple weeks ago. But I do that every day too. I do that here, and it's different. You can do stuff in person, but just the internet and the way that the voice can reach with podcasts and with the Daily Swole and with all the content, it's just so efficient to make videos and to promote them and to get them out there. You can reach a lot more people. But yeah, in-person talks, stuff like that. No bodybuilding contests. I have no interest in doing that. But yeah, we've been talking with the private community, everyone that's in Swolenormous X and stuff. We've been talking about doing not a meetup, but like a summit and stuff like that. But yeah, it's going to come to that time. Probably 2019, we'll have some kind of like date or weekend where, everyone can get together and we can train, go get some fucking food, right? We go to like a buffet, we'll get like or whatever, get it catered kind of thing. We'll do some kind of a family event, like a family reunion. We'll do something like that. I've had some thoughts in my mind, but we have to plan that out a lot. We have to give people plenty of time to be able to make it and stuff like that. Let's see. Anthony Garcia. So real question, when you change something in eating habits and training, how many days should I stay consistent to check progress? You're going to probably need at least 4 to 6 weeks. It depends. You might notice something in a couple days, but when you change nutritionally, you got to do so gradually. So if you're doing like caloric cuts, you don't want to drop like 1,000 calories suddenly. You don't want to do massive caloric changes because your body will kind of like shut down, lock up, and you can flush a lot of water and lose a lot of muscle if you do things too drastically. So when you're doing caloric changes, increases or decreases, you only do it like maybe like a couple hundred calories over the course of a week. And then you adjust and you go like maybe 200 calories less the following week. And then you keep that consistent. So the slower and here's the thing, people don't have patience. People don't have patience. The body moves slowly. Everyone wants to see things fast. It's hard to say, hey, cut 250 calories a day and do that for 7 days. People are like, oh no, I'm going to cut 500 and do a lot more cardio and shred up. You're going to get skinny. You're going to fucking lose all your hard work. So it's important to do gradual changes and let the body adapt, because worst thing, like the worst case scenario, you drop 250 calories, you do that for a little bit and you're like, oh, I feel a little bit flat. Let me up a little bit more carbohydrates. And you can adjust and tweak, and you don't make any drastic and, chop off your fucking leg essentially, right? Little tweaks allow you to have more control. And the more subtly and the more gradually you tweak things, especially as a natural lifter, you're going to save a lot of muscle mass, and you're going to save yourself a lot of the headache and the distress of the consequences of doing drastic changes, right? Drastic changes. So that's a huge thing. That's a huge thing. Like the difference between drastic changes and small changes. So you have more control. But you usually have to wait a few weeks to see the result. And that's where people lose sight of things when they change their diet, right? They go keto or vegan and they feel great in the first like 3 days or 4 days. Like, wow, I feel amazing. It's like, well, give it a couple months to really figure it out, because you can make these changes. You might feel great for a couple days and you get the keto flu for a couple weeks and then you quit. But then on the other side, a month, if you stay with it for another 3 weeks, you would have felt great. So there's that transition period. And most people don't do their research and understand enough of what they're getting themselves into, and drastic changes usually lead to catastrophic results because you're trying to find something fast, right? It's a quick fix, and there isn't one. I appreciate that, Tom. I would love to be on Joe Rogan's podcast. I don't think I am anywhere of a blip on on his radar, but we'll see. Someday, you never know. Maybe he'll be on my podcast. That's how you got to think. He'll be on my podcast. That'd be cool. I'm down. Hey, if you got a podcast, let me know. I'm open to being a guest on people's podcasts. I've done it before. It's fun. It's fun to have conversations with people. So, very good. Very, very good. Well, we will be got a couple of guests and people lined up for the Daily Swole podcast. So we're having some more people on here coming up. Yeah, 919. 919. We're going into the 1000s. Ew. It's coming. It's coming faster. Again, it's always like I look at the number and it's like, shit, we were just at 900. It's just another, right? Another brick, another level, step by step by step by step. So the nutrition masterclass was awesome yesterday. Again, I just want to give my thanks to those of you that are watching, listening now, later. Thank you so much for turning out for that. It was amazing. And if you missed it, it's okay. I get it. You missed it. Maybe you didn't sign up in time and you regret it. You can still catch it. It's actually uploaded into swolenormousx.com. So those of you that are members, of course, those of you that have access to, the masterclass section, it's pinned to the top of the masterclass section on swolenormousx.com. So you could watch it there. It's also still in the private Facebook group. So if you missed it, you can still catch it. So if you didn't sign up in time, you can still join and catch the replay. It's there for members for eternity. So you can catch that. But it was great for the Q&A, great feedback, and great engagement. And this week, we will be having another masterclass, but it'll be on some new uploads and instructional videos and programming and stuff that I'm uploading into X. And I'll talk more about that. I'll make some more announcements for those of you that are in Swolenormous X already. You can learn more at swolenormousx.com if you're just hearing about this for the first time. But yeah, we had a big weekend. Got an accountability meeting tomorrow, State of the Swole, everyone, tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern time. So those of you that are in Swolenormous X, be there. I'll be giving you the updates and the new releases for this week. And make sure you plug in. Check me out on Instagram at Swolenormous. Going to be dropping some new shit. I'm going to edit a couple of videos. You can follow me YouTube at Swolenormous. I also stream the Daily Swole podcast. I started a second channel just for the podcast to stream there. That way it doesn't fuck up with any of the algorithms and people get confused and it doesn't push my videos around, which was what was happening, unfortunately. So there's Daily Swole podcast on YouTube, and also there's Swolenormous on YouTube with other videos and rants and driving while gainings and ish like that. Interested in Swolenormous gear, you can check out swolenormousapparel.com. There's also a link on Swolenormous X. You can click and you can check out all the shirts, Gamebraham Lincoln, Swolker tees, Plank Sinatra, all those awesome fucking tees. And that's all there. You can check out the link, swolenormousx.com. Again, Swolenormous Apparel. Get your gear, get the bearded face right on your tits. Adorn your tits with Papa Swolio. I think I'm going to come out with my first supplement. It's going to be a coffee IV. You just fucking plug it in. It's just like it's just a fucking pen. You just jam into your arm. Like, oh, just a freaking just caffeine straight to the brain, straight to the dome. And aside from that, I hope you enjoy your Sunday pump. Today, pump debating. It will likely be a yoga day. I'm debating between Zipump and the yoga. I need to do the yoga. I really do need to do that. That needs to be my priority. I know that. I know it needs to be my priority. I know I should be focusing on that. I really want to pump, but I do have some other things I need to do. So I'll probably do yoga and do my editing like a good boy. It's not always what you want to do. It's what you need to do. I know. Sunday always just feels like it's quiet around. I feel like Sunday, everyone's sleeping and everyone's like lazy and I always want to fucking do more work. I just want to crush everything. Last question, maybe. Owen Pieper. What's your opinion on nutrient timing? Your choice. Try it. See if you like it. Try it before you buy it. You may prefer intermittent fasting. There's nothing wrong with fasting. One thing that I would warn against is if you're trying to bulk up, I would not recommend intermittent fasting or doing any type of fasting, because obviously if you're trying to bulk, you need caloric excess, and not eating is kind of the opposite of what you're trying to do. So if you're trying to lose weight or you're trying to maintain a healthy weight and you feel good, for performance, for overall health, there's a lot of positive feedback from fasting, whether it's intermittent, which I don't really think is real fasting. It's kind of like, hey, I'm not eating breakfast. But something like maybe like a 24 or 36 hour fast once or twice a week or once in a while, that's definitely something that you can think about, but always be careful, for your health risks and do your research on that before you start jumping into it. But the human body is meant to adapt. Nothing wrong with it. Just might not be ideal for bulking. I wouldn't. What do you use to keep a shiny hair master? Whoa. Do I have shiny hair? I don't know. Maybe it's just the lighting. I shampoo, I condition, I wash, I shower. I use whatever herbal essence or whatever freaking shampoo or conditioners in the shower. I do surprisingly little extra, but I brush my hair. I take care of my beard. Only not now. Now it's just fucking everywhere. Poof. It's cloudy too here in Florida. Is it, Tommy? It's bright and sunny where I'm at. Been cooking and baking sweet potatoes, but I've been listening. Good man, Jesse. Good man. Well, thank you everyone for joining me for episode 919 of the Most Muscular Swolecast, Beardcast, Broadcast, Gangcast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Sleazecast, Slaycast, in the realm. Insert hair sponsor. Hey, I'm down for a hair sponsorship. I'm down for it. I'm down. In the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. I will see everyone tomorrow for 920. And tomorrow's Monday, and I've heard a lot of people saying you want Muscle Monday back. Who wants some Muscle Monday tomorrow? Come on, float some biceps, float some gorillas. If you want Muscle Monday, and Instagram misses out on Muscle Monday. I don't know if we're going to do the 3D model. We might, but who wants a Muscle Monday tomorrow? And I'll think about it. I'll stink about it. Think about it. Want that Muscle Monday? Drop in the comments below, because tomorrow is Monday. And why not start off with some fucking sick gains, yeah? Yeah, might change the format a little bit, but sounds like people want some Muscle Monday. All right, so drop that in the comments right now, even after I sign off. Just drop Muscle Monday with some exclamation points or something if you want that. Hit me up in the DM if you love Muscle Mondays. Message me on Instagram. Be like, bring back Muscle Monday, you fucking animal. And I shall consider it. I'm amped up. So love you guys. Thanks for joining me. See you tomorrow for episode 920. Peace, McGee's, Deuce Magoose, your boy, Papa Swolio. Out.